Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Parkinson's Foundation's Mindfulness Mondays. My name is Crista Ellis, and I'm the Community Program Manager for the Florida and Gulf Coast chapters. During this time of social distancing, we hope that you are able to stay healthy and safe at home. Due to the evolving situation around the COVID-19 outbreak, we are taking every precaution to look after our Parkinson's community. In our efforts to help you stay connected, the Parkinson's Foundation is providing weekly educational and wellness programs in a virtual format through our PD Health at Home series. I would like to take a moment, if you are not already and are able to, and ask you to join us on camera and wave and say hello to your Parkinson's community here today. You can scroll through, see the faces here across the nation and even across the globe today as we connect and come together during this Mindful Monday. Hi, everyone. Hello. So good to see you all. Thank you for joining us. Each Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, we will have a live expert sharing their tips and knowledge on staying mindful during this unique time. Every week, we will explore a different topic of how the practice of mindfulness can influence your health and well-being. The Parkinson's Foundation is dedicated to engaging and empowering the Parkinson's community. I am thrilled to be able to share this time during our Mindfulness Monday events with you. Please make note that we will not be hosting a Mindfulness Monday next week in observance of Memorial Day, Monday, May 25th. Mark your calendars and join us on June 1st to learn how mindfulness can make an impact on your nutrition and Parkinson's disease. To learn more and to register for individual events, visit parkinson.org/PD Health. This is new for all of us, so we thank you in advance for your patience while we are getting used to doing things a new way. As a reminder, your questions can be submitted through the chat function in the black banner on the bottom of your viewing page. We will do our best to answer as many of your questions as we can during the Q&A portion of this program. Today's session will be recorded and archived on the Parkinson's website at parkinson.org/PD Health. Before I introduce today's speaker, I'd like to tell you a little more about the Parkinson's Foundation mission and resources. The Parkinson's Foundation makes life better for people living with Parkinson's disease by improving care and advancing research toward a cure. In everything we do, we build on the energy, experience, and passion of our global Parkinson's community. With free resources, we provide families with free resources, including our website, parkinson.org, educational books, webinars such as today's event, podcasts, a hospitalization kit, and our toll-free helpline, 1-800-4PD-INFO, which is staffed by Parkinson's specialists. To learn more about our resources and our upcoming virtual events, remember to visit our website at parkinson.org or call our helpline at 1-800-4PD-INFO. Now it's my pleasure to welcome our guest speaker who will address pain and Parkinson's disease and how mindfulness may help. Dr. Craig Hase mentors meditation practitioners online, leads meditation retreats through North America and Europe, and teaches meditation on the Simple Habit app. He spent 6 years in a Zen monastery and completed a PhD in counseling psychology. I am pleased to welcome Dr. Craig Hase. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Wow. It is a pleasure. It is a pleasure. Let's see. Can you all hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay, great. Okay, good. Okay. So, oh, look, somebody's waving to me too. That's nice. Yeah, it is a pleasure to be here with all of you. Thank you, Crista, for that wonderful introduction. And I thought before we dive into the presentation, where I'm going to talk a little bit about the research on mindfulness and pain management and a little bit of my own experience of working with people who have chronic pain, thought maybe we just do a mindfulness exercise together, kind of like a centering practice. So if you could find a comfortable posture to sit in, that's very helpful. Often we say it's nice to have a posture where you feel a little bit alert in your body, kind of like a wakefulness in your body. But even more important than that is feeling as relaxed as possible. So you might just let your shoulders drop. Whew. You might let your arms release and relax. And we'll just take a few nice deep breaths together, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. So breathing in and out. Very nice. Breathing in and out. If you'd like to close your eyes, you're welcome to close your eyes. Breathing in and out. And then we'll just bring in nice warm awareness, a kind of friendly attention to your breath. So you could just feel your breath as it comes into your body, goes out of your body. It's very simple. This practice is so simple, yet powerful. So just feeling how your breath comes into your lungs, feeling the way that your belly maybe rises and falls. Knowing these sensations of this living body as it breathes. And of course, the mind will continue to think and plan. All kinds of things will be happening in the mind. That's fine. You don't need to get rid of your thoughts. But just for this one moment, what would it be like to have a lot of curiosity about your breath? Feel what your breath feels like in your body. And now let's take another nice deep breath together. Breathing deep into the lungs. You could open your eyes if your eyes were closed. Maybe let the body stretch a little bit. It's always nice to let the body move. Good. Yeah, so that was, I like to call that a drop-in. It's just a very brief meditation practice, mindfulness practice. I like these short practices because they're accessible. We can do them anywhere, we can do them anytime. I've done that drop-in process on buses, on trains, in my living room, at work, in my office. Do it anywhere, anywhere. You don't even have to close your eyes or look funny or anything. You could just do it on your own and nobody will even know. But I find it very helpful. Very, very helpful to come back to the body and feel these sensations of the body in a kind of unfiltered way, unfiltered by our thinking mind. And I'll talk a little bit about why that might be useful. It might be useful to those of us who have some chronic pain. But I'd like to ask a question, actually. So, we're going to have a quiz. But the good news about this quiz is that you will get 100%. You will get an A on this quiz just by answering. So my question is, my first question, do you experience pain with your Parkinson's disease? And you can just go ahead and vote up there. Good. I think people are figuring it out. A lot of people answering that they're experiencing some pain. Quite a few people, not so much pain. That's nice. Great. Okay. So it's looking like about half and half. A little more than half of you are experiencing pain associated with your Parkinson's disease. And then a little less than half, not so much pain, which is very lucky and very nice. Okay, a second question. Second question is, for those of you who do experience pain, what kind of pain is it that you experience? And so there's these 5 kinds of pain that are typically associated with Parkinson's disease. There's the musculoskeletal, there's the neuropathic, there's the dystonic, there's restlessness, technical term is akathisia, and there's central pain. Central pain is like in the central nervous system. Yeah. Okay, so a lot of musculoskeletal. That makes sense with the symptoms of Parkinson's. Oh, mostly musculoskeletal. Good. Some neuropathic, some dystonic. Dystonic is like the muscle twisting, right? Some restlessness and a little bit of central pain. Good. Okay, so that gives us an idea of where we're at in terms of what people are experiencing for pain. Yeah, so let me talk to you a little bit about my experience of working with people who have chronic pain. And in fact, for a number of years, I also had chronic pain. So I have a lot of, sort of unfortunately, I have a lot of experience myself of using mindfulness as a kind of treatment and intervention for chronic pain. But I'd like to tell you about one person in particular that I met and the way that we worked with his pain together. So while I was getting my PhD in counseling psychology at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, I had this wonderful opportunity to do these rotations. It was a clinical PhD, right? So I was rotating through all of these different environments with different populations, working in clinical mental health, community mental health, inpatient psychiatry unit, working with teenagers in a school, all kinds of different things. And one of my favorite placements was that I worked in a prison. And I did not expect this to be one of my favorite placements. I was nervous, actually, when I started there. You know, you walk into a unit and they've got these grill gates, and they slide, the guard opens them with this electric button, it slides open, crash, It's very intimidating. And then you walk through and then it crashes behind you. And so it takes a lot of getting used to being in these environments. But after about a month or two, I started to really love the work because I found that the people that I worked with were very authentic. These inmates, people who are locked up, were very honest with me. If I showed respect and curiosity with them, they became very open with me. And as I developed, I started to teach mindfulness, and an administrator at this prison found out I was doing this and got very excited about it. And he started to send me to all these different units to teach mindfulness. And so I met all of these different people. It was a very big place. There's about 2,000 people there. And then one time in particular, I was sent to a unit that I'd never been in before to meet with a person that I'd never met before. And he had chronic pain. And he'd heard that mindfulness could be helpful with chronic pain. So for him in particular, he had a terribly broken jaw. He'd been in a fight. You could see that there were all these scars and it was out of alignment. And he was in a tremendous amount of pain waiting for surgery. But because he was kind of a ward of the state, it was taking several years to get on the list to get his jaw fixed. And so he was in all of this terrible pain. And I walked in there and I thought, oh my gosh, this is like above my pay grade. What am I going to do with this? And I asked him to start off on a scale of 1 to 10, how much pain are you experiencing right now? And he said, oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. It's probably an 8 or maybe even a 9. And I said, whoa, an 8 or a 9 would be like, we probably need to bring you to the hospital. Like it's unbearable pain, right? And he said, that's where it is. It's like, it's unbearable pain for me. It's an 8 or a 9. And I took a deep breath and I said, well, okay, let's try to do some mindfulness together. And so we sat down and I led him through an exercise where I brought him into his body, into his breath, just like we were doing together, all of us here. And then I brought him straight into the center of the pain, right into the middle of it. And I had him feel the raw sensation of the pain, the throbbing of the pain, the burning of the pain. Really get into there, like feel the rawness of it, feel it unfiltered. And then I had him go to his big toe on his left foot. Because his big toe on his left foot didn't have any pain, right? So I had him go to where there was no pain at all and really get into what his left foot feels like. Then back to the jaw, where the pain is, then back to the left foot, back to the jaw, back to the left foot. And all the while I had him really relax into the sensations in his body. Then we finished. And I asked him, okay, how was that? He said, that was good. That was really good. I said, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, where is your pain now? And he said, it's a 4. And I said, wow, that's quite surprising. That's amazing. It's a 4. The injury is exactly the same. The imbalance, exactly the same. The raw sensations are probably exactly the same, but his subjective experience of the pain dropped from an 8 to a 4. Why? Why is that? And we now have quite a bit of good research on the subjective experience of pain to tell us a little bit of why that might be. It's not a miracle, and it's not a quick fix. It's not a panacea. But what we find out from a lot of the research being done on pain management and subjective experience of pain is coming out of Stanford University. And what we find out is that there are 2 parts to our physical pain, to our subjective experience of our physical pain. First part is the raw experience of the pain. That's the injury itself, or the chronic condition itself, or the damaged neuropathways themselves, right? That's just there. We could say in some sense that's the unavoidable pain, if it's chronic and we've tried to treat it and it's not going to go away. So that's number 1, the raw experience of the pain. We're not going to probably get rid of that without some kind of very effective medical treatment. Then there's the second part. And the second part is what we work with in mindfulness. The second part is our resistance to the pain. So the technical term for this in the research is our aversion to the pain. We don't like the pain, right? I do not like pain. And the more chronic the pain is, the less that I like it. And I'm sure most of us feel the same way. However, what happens when we resist the pain is the body begins to tense up, the nervous system gets activated, and then we experience more subjective pain. The more that we resist it, the more we tense up, and the more pain we feel. That's the equation. So with somebody like this inmate that I was working with in the prison, he had a tremendous amount of resistance to the pain. Yeah? He had a whole story about it. He was really angry about it. He was upset about it. He was pushing against it, pushing against it. When we brought him back to his experience of his body, he was able to drop a lot of that resistance, a lot of that thinking mind baggage, just feel the pain itself, and his subjective experience of the pain went down. Yeah. So I'll tell you a little bit more. From the research. So one study that I like was done by a German lab. They studied meditators. So these are people who have meditated for a long time. They're called experienced meditators. And it showed that when they subjected these poor subjects, who are also meditators, to physical pain, and this is something like they'll wrap their arm and in a kind of funny heating thing. Like it's this liquid heat that they put all around their arm, and they heat it up and heat it up and heat it up till it's about 140, 150 degrees, to the point where it really feels like it's burning their skin, but it doesn't cause damage. But it's pain. Or the simple way that you can do that is you put your hand in an ice bucket, right? And you keep your hand in the ice bucket. They do this for women who are training to give birth to help them relax into their pain. But in this case, they had this kind of heat wrap that they put around these meditators' arms. And then they heated it up, heated up, heated up, heated up. And they found a couple of really important pieces of data. One is that compared to non-meditators, so comparing meditators to non-meditators, they saw in the meditators, the people who had experience with meditation, increased activations in the areas associated with processing the actual sensory experience of pain. That makes sense? So for the meditators, they felt the pain more. They were more alert to the actual sensations of the pain, and that registered in their brain. Also, compared to non-meditators, they had decreased activity in regions involved in emotion, memory, and appraisal. Does that make sense? So in other words, the meditators felt the sensations in an unfiltered way, but they didn't have the mental spin around what was going on. They didn't have all the associated memories, they didn't have worries about the future, and they weren't evaluating it with their minds. They just felt the pain. Just like that inmate that I led through the mindfulness exercise, where he had all the spinning stuff, all of the resistance, and then he was dropping it, and he just felt his body. So in other words, meditators feel the pain itself, and they're less caught in their ideas about it. Here's another study that I think is kind of fun. Meditators, not that meditators are so great, they have problems too. But people who are experienced in meditation, they can sustain that painful experience longer. So like I said, the ice bucket challenge, if you take a group of meditators and you take a group of non-meditators and then you say, okay, put your hand in this ice bucket and keep it there for as long as you can. The meditators will be able to, on average, keep their hand in the ice bucket longer. Not because they're dulling themselves out, not because they're ignoring their experience, but actually because they're connecting directly to their experience. You can really, really feel it every moment. So that's our goal together. Okay. Thumbs up, is everybody getting this? All right. So the big, good, all people know the thumbs up. That's fun, that's wonderful. So the basic take home so far is that we're learning to relate to our physical sensations, our raw experience of the body. We don't need to get rid of our thinking. We're not trying to push our thinking or our emotions or our memories or our information away, but we're coming back again and again and again. In just a minute, we're going to do this together, which is pretty fun. Yeah, but let me tell you another story because I like stories. So I am not somebody, even though I'm a meditator, I am not somebody who does well with pain. So I talked about how all these great meditators, they can put their hands in ice buckets and they can have these heat patches around their arms, and they're totally, I'm not like that. Like, I do not like pain. It is not fun for me. So I decided to experiment with this physical discomfort. And I was on retreat. So in meditation retreat, I'm assuming that most people here have never been on like a week-long or a weekend meditation retreat. What you do in a meditation retreat is you really come back to the body again and again and again and again throughout your day. So you sit down and you meditate and you feel your body. Then you walk really slowly and you feel your body. Then you eat breakfast and you feel your body, and you taste and you hear and you smell and all these things. And all day long, you're coming back again and again and again to these physical sensations and this lived experience. So I was in this space of feeling really alert and pretty concentrated, and my mind was very calm. And then at dinner time, a mosquito landed on my arm. So this is in Massachusetts, where they have these like monster mosquitoes. And it landed on my arm. And usually I don't kill mosquitoes because I'm all Buddhist, right? But Buddhists they try not to kill things. So but usually I'd brush it off, you know? And I thought, okay, well, here I am talking to all these people about discomfort and how mindfulness is so great. What if I just let this mosquito have some dinner? Don't do this in places where there's malaria or dengue fever. But in Massachusetts, I felt pretty safe, you know. So I sat there, so it landed on my arm. I sat there and I watched as this mosquito kind of took its time, maybe took her time, are they usually female? Took her time and found my vein, kind of like a nurse searching for your vein. And then I watched as she kind of plunged her needle nose into, boom, right into my vein. And that first moment was very uncomfortable. And I felt my whole body tense up like, oh, this is not right. You know? This being is eating my blood. But I thought, okay, I'll relax and I'll really feel what this feels like. Yeah? And I let this mosquito start to fill up on my blood. And I really felt it though. I wanted to be very, very involved. And I felt the way that it was itching. It was so sensitive. I could feel the way that this little needle thing was kind of like shaking around every once in a while as she looked for a better blood spot. And I watched her as she filled up and she filled up and she filled up. And the more I relaxed, the more I felt it as just pure sensation. It wasn't even really pain or anymore. It wasn't really even itching anymore. It was just this very interesting experience that I was having. And I started to kind of love this mosquito. I had this kind of like intimacy, like, wow, here we are together as you drink from my vein. Very strange, but kind of like I had this warmth toward this insect being who was with me. And then, you know, she filled up, it took forever. You know, it was like, I don't know how long, 60 seconds, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, long time. And then I watched as she kind of took her little needle nose out, and then she almost drunkenly sort of flew away, really heavy and full. I thought that was interesting, you know, I felt happy, even though there was discomfort. even though I had this itching on my arm, I had this sense of kind of like satisfaction or happiness. So I'm not recommending that you let mosquitoes eat you for lunch. And I am certainly not recommending that you don't do everything possible medically to take care of your chronic pain. What I am recommending is that when there is inevitable pain, when there is discomfort in our lives, physical discomfort in our lives, this way of being that we call mindfulness can help us live still with a kind of happiness, meaning, ease, right in the middle of everything that is going on for us. Okay, so just to recap, and then we're going to do some mindfulness together, which is really the best part. You know, the talking is fun and nice and the stories are okay, but the juice of this is doing the practice together. So I'm excited to do the practice together. To recap, there is the actual raw sensation of pain or discomfort. That's the number one. Then there is our resistance to that discomfort. That is the number two. The more that we resist the pain, the more that we will feel subjective pain. Our subjective experience of pain will increase. When we use mindfulness to just feel the body and drop our resistance, even though the raw experience of pain has not changed, and even though the underlying physiological and anatomical conditions are the same, our subjective experience of the pain can drop. Mindfulness also leads to all kinds of other good benefits that you can read about, like less stress, more focus, better relationships, sort of warm feelings in the heart, all kinds of things. But in terms of pain, this is the big take home. We drop our resistance and we live right in the middle of the body. So let's do a little bit. Let's do a little bit of mindfulness together. Is it okay if we do 15 minutes of a mindfulness practice? Is that all right? Can people have, yeah? All right, good. Yeah, so we'll go about just till a little bit before 40 minutes after the arrow. Oh, I like these thumbs up. Good. Zoom can be so much fun sometimes, don't you think? So let us find a comfortable position. A comfortable position where you can feel a little bit alert in your spine, a little bit upright. It's a sense of being awake here. Being able to feel your body in its fullness. And then again, it's nice to take some deep breaths. So we'll take a few nice deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. So breathing in and out. Good, good, good. In and out. And in and breathe out. And if your eyes are open, you could let your eyes close. Let your breath find its natural rhythm. So the breath could feel deep and relaxed at this moment. Your breath might also feel a little tight or short. It's really welcome. The breath is welcome just as it is. A lot of this mindfulness practice is cultivating the sense of welcoming. You're welcoming the breath, whether it's feeling comfortable or uncomfortable. You're welcoming the sensations in your body, whether they're feeling pleasant or unpleasant. You're even welcoming all of the thoughts, all of the emotions. You're welcoming the fullness of your lived experience. And now, let's bring a warm awareness to the top of your head. You could just feel your scalp, feel your follicles of your hair. Notice what it's like in this region of the top of your head. Is it feeling warm? Is it feeling cool? And you could feel the back of your head. And what does the back of your head feel like? Can you feel the skin of the back of your head? And bring that warm awareness around to your forehead. Notice if there's anything extra, any extra tension that you're carrying in the forehead that wants to release. Can you release anything extra? As you feel how your forehead feels, and now your temples and your jaw. You could feel your nose and your eyes, your mouth, and your tongue. Bring this warm awareness to your whole face. It's the kind of friendly attention that you receive the sensations with. And then bring that warm awareness, that friendly attention to your throat and your neck. It's almost like you've never felt your throat before. You've never felt your neck before. This fresh experience of knowing these sensations in this moment. You could feel your shoulders in the same way. Again, if there's anything extra in your shoulders, tension that wants to release, you could just release your shoulders. No worries if some tension remains. We're not trying to get rid of anything. And we're certainly not trying to be a good meditator. As we bring our awareness, our kind attention into the arms, feeling the upper arms and the elbows, the forearms. Feeling these arms as a live sensation and as a freshness. How are they feeling right now? Now you could feel your hands. You could feel your hands with some real curiosity, as if you've never felt your hands before. There's so many nerves, so many bones. There's so much going on in your hands. Can you feel your fingernails and your fingertips? And sometimes we just feel kind of numbness, and that's also perfectly fine. When we feel numbness, we can get curious about what does numb feel like? Because numb is a feeling too. And now let's move back up into the area of your chest. Maybe feeling into your heart, the physical center of your chest, really feeling your chest. Also feeling the emotional center, allowing for anything that might be here, whether it's frustration or calm, kindness or anger, sadness. In our mindfulness practice, everything is welcome. And we welcome it with a warmth. Welcome it with friendliness. Let's move into the back, the upper back. Can you feel what your upper back feels like today? Maybe it's resting against the chair or your couch. Maybe you could feel the sensations of fabric from your shirt. And just noticing what's alive now in this living body, this living upper back. And also your lower back, feeling your lower back, sensing your lower back, maybe the kidneys. Maybe you can feel the way the breath gently moves into your lower back as you breathe into your lungs. Bringing this friendliness into your belly, the rise and fall of your belly as the breath comes into your body, goes out of your body. So nice. Now into your seat, a sense of legs and buttocks touching the chair, this rootedness, this gravity. Sometimes I feel a sense of security when I feel into the way that gravity is holding me in my chair. I'm rooting like a tree. You can feel your upper legs and your knees and the backs of your knees. And your shins and your calves. And then your feet. really feel your feet. We have sensations in our feet all day long. These sensations that help us walk. But we very rarely feel with a lot of curiosity, what do our feet feel like right now? Okay, and then moving into the whole body. There's a way of bringing awareness to the whole of your body. It's like you're massaging friendliness into your experience. Feeling your body from head to toe with this sense of warmth, this sense of kindness, this curiosity. Knowing your body moment to moment, the changing, the shifting sensations, the alertness, the wakefulness. This body is alive. And now let's take another couple of deep breaths, breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. And again, in through the nose, out through the mouth. You could open your eyes, maybe roll your shoulders or let your body move. I like to do a nice twist if possible. Moving your body in any way that feels good to you. Yeah, good. The wrists, that's nice. Okay. So I see that there are already questions, but I have one question before we get to those questions. Another poll. How are you feeling now? Are you sleepy? Relaxed? Calm? Are you anxious? Are you good? No difference. How are you feeling now? These polls are so much fun. I've never done these before. This is a new one for me. Lot of relaxed and calm. A lot of relaxed and calm. Some sleepy, which makes sense to me. Some good, doing good. No difference, that's also fine. A little bit anxious, yeah. So when we do these practices, the key is to be with whatever is here and just know it. So sometimes when I meditate, I feel so relaxed, I feel so calm. Other times when I do meditation or this mindfulness practice, I feel my anxiety more. You know, I think I'm doing fine in my day, and then I sit down and meditate and I'm like, whoa, wow. Or I feel sad, you know, like, oh gosh, I didn't know how sad I felt until I sat down to meditate and I really checked in. Or I feel delighted. You know, I feel like so much energy and creativity and all kinds of things. And what we want to do here together is learn how to be with what is, whatever it is, whether it is the delight of being alive in a body or the real difficulty of being alive in a body and a heart, a mind that thinks and all this. So we can bring this awareness back again and again. And what we're cultivating is the awareness itself. So it's not necessarily the calm is a really good byproduct, but the goal is the awareness itself, the ability to be aware of whatever is happening any moment of your day. All right, let's look at some questions. We've got, first one, looks like John says, when is best time of the day to meditate? Great question. The best time of the day to meditate is when you will actually sit down to meditate. So I can say a little more about that. A lot of people love to meditate first thing in the morning. So they wake up, or I'll give you my routine. I'm a first day kind of, I like to meditate right when I wake up and before I go to bed, right? So I wake up, I quit coffee, by the way, so thank you. But I have my tea, I have my black tea in the morning. I'm still addicted to caffeine, just not coffee. So I wake up, I make my cup of tea, and then I meditate before I do anything else. Now that's not because meditation in the morning is better than meditation any time of the day. It's because that is when I will actually do it. Because as soon as my day starts, I get caught in things, and I kind of like fall in the river and get taken downstream, you know? So meditation in the morning, really nice, very helpful. But another time you could do it is right before bed, right? You've done your day, all the things have happened, and you're about to go to bed, and then you meditate before bed. Other times, some people are pre-lunch meditators, you know, so they just like to have, it's easier to meditate on an empty stomach than on a full stomach. That's a nice piece of information. So people like set a little chime on their phone or a notification on their phone to remind them right before lunch. But John, you can experiment with this and find out what works best for you, you know? Are you a morning meditator? Are you an evening meditator? Are you a midday meditator? And whatever is working best for you, then you just commit to it and just try to do it every day. And it's the doing it every day that starts to make the difference in your life. Great question, thank you. Second question. I find meditation to be most helpful right now as I wake up or right before going to bed. Oh, good. Melissa had the same answer I did. And then we've got Pastor Wendell Stavig. I deeply apologize when I mispronounce people's names. So it's like you feel it, but you don't stress over it. That is a good description. You feel it, but you don't stress over it. And the way that you don't stress over it is by learning this technique, or by learning this way of being, of dropping into the body. Because very often we know intellectually, oh, it would be better if I didn't stress about this, right? But it's so difficult to just tell yourself, okay, so don't stress. I try this with myself all the time. Okay, it would be better if I didn't stress. That rarely works for me. That like cognitive top-down method rarely works for me. What works for me is knowing, okay, this is stress, this is resistance, this is a mental difficulty. It can be here. It's welcome here. I'm not resisting that either. And while this is here, I can come back to the body. I can use this technique or this set of techniques to really feel the body. And when I do that, all of this as a side benefit will chill out. But the way I do it is by coming back to the body again and again in a very friendly way. So I'm cultivating two things. First thing I'm cultivating is attention regulation, technical term, which means I'm putting my attention somewhere and keeping it there. Second thing I'm cultivating is a good attitude, an attitude of friendliness and warmth toward my experience. Okay, that was a good question too. John Wolverton says, I get distracted. So when that happens, do I bring myself to where I was, or do I need to start over? I love this question. How about this? Raise your hand if you got distracted at least once during the meditation we did together. Yeah? Almost everybody will get distracted at least once during a 10 or a 15-minute meditation. In fact, almost everybody will get distracted at least once during a 1-minute meditation because the mind is just going, and you slip into it. When you find that you've done that, the first thing you should do is celebrate. Because if you know that you have been distracted, it means you are no longer distracted. So that moment when you notice, you can throw a mental party, like, woohoo, I noticed that I've been distracted, go me. And then you just come back. You don't need to start over. You just come back to whatever's going on. So if you're doing if you're listening to a body scan in the speaker, you got distracted in the head and now they're on your feet, just come back to the feet. You don't have to go back to the beginning. Okay. And John says, my mantra is, it is what it is, which is a very good mantra.
Thank you, Dr. Hase. We do have a couple more questions in our question document that we've collected through the chat. I want to thank everyone who wrote in the chat for questions for Dr. Hase. We have time for one more. We have one, they write, I am new to the concept of mindfulness. How will it help me deal with my ongoing depression and feelings of hopelessness? Two-part question. How can we be mindful and also realistic in midst of this epidemic?
Yes. Yes, these are very, very important questions. So the first question is, how can mindfulness help with depression and hopelessness? And then the second one is continuing to be realistic. So first of all, mindfulness is not a panacea, despite what you might read in the mainstream media. It's just helpful. It's not the only thing. So if you're really struggling with depression, it's important to get treatment and to work with a therapist or a counselor or a psychologist or a psychiatrist who has an expertise in this area. Now, a lot of counselors these days know about mindfulness and can teach mindfulness, and that's become a very big part of the treatment of depression and anxiety and other mental health concerns. But it's very unlikely that mindfulness alone, done by yourself, is going to treat real depression. So speaking of being realistic, I think it's important to know the limitations also of what mindfulness can do. So professional help is really essential, and don't be afraid to reach out. People do telehealth. Maybe you're already in treatment with people, and that's wonderful, but getting help is very, very good. And within that context of getting help, mindfulness is like a catalyst, or it's galvanizing. It helps the therapeutic process in a big, big, big way. So that's what I would say. One last thing on that, the way that it helps is that it breaks the cycle of rumination. So much of the cause of depression is the mind cycling in a habit pattern, going around and around and around. That's much of what leads to depression. And what mindfulness does is it takes your attention off of that, puts it on your living, changing, moment-to-moment experience in a way that sort of brings you back to life. And you turn again and again and again to this momentary experience rather than being caught in the rumination. That's how mindfulness works on depression. The number two one was being realistic. I actually think that mindfulness has the potential to make us more realistic because we can stay with what's really happening now. A lot of our anxiety around the COVID pandemic, I have my anxiety too, by the way, but a lot of the fear in what's happening has to do with what's going to happen, what's going to happen. And what mindfulness helps us do is parse that into what do I need to do to take care of possible futures? That's important to do, of course, versus just circling around and around and around in future thinking. So once you've made your plans for what you're going to do, you can relax. Use mindfulness to come back to your body and experience your life now as it is right here. And a kind of appreciation for this life right here. So I could say much more about that, but we are running out of time, so I will be quiet.
Thank you, Dr. Hase. I really appreciate that. For those of you who have submitted questions and we didn't have time to get to, please feel free to reach out to Dr. Craig Hase at devonandcraighase.com. You can also reach out to us by way of our helpline at 1-800-4PD-INFO. I want to give a big thank you to our amazing presenter, Dr. Craig Hase. If we could all give him a virtual round of applause, please. Thank you so much, Dr. Hase. We really appreciate you joining us and sharing your wisdom and knowledge and stories for this Mindfulness Monday. A couple of events that I'd like to share with you all. And of course, a reminder that today's event has been recorded and will be archived on our webpage at parkinson.org/pdhealth. Please feel free to tune into that wonderful body scan that Dr. Hase guided us through today. I am excited to announce that we have a podcast mindfulness series as well. Tomorrow will be launched a live mindfulness on how mindfulness may benefit us in times of stress, featuring Dr. Angela Johnson. You can subscribe through parkinson.org/podcast. And tomorrow we are having a live webinar, expert briefing, Beyond the Diagnosis, Managing Changing Symptoms at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. You can learn more and register at parkinson.org/pdhealth. I want to invite you all to join us on camera. If you aren't already and are able to please join us on camera. See your mindful Parkinson's community. See our speaker, see your Parkinson's Foundation staff, see each other in unison during this Mindful Monday rave. Yes, scroll through the screen and see your peers. I want to give you also a final reminder that we won't be here next Mindful Monday on Memorial Day in observance of the holiday. And you can tune in on June 1st, where we'll be addressing nutrition and how mindfulness can help. Thank you, Dr. Hase, one last time for joining us today. Again, you can reach Dr. Hase at devonandcraighase.com. Thank you all for joining us today, and we'll see you June 1st. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.